Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking all things tactical shad. I've got two molds to show you, two different sizes of this bait, and I got to spend about 7 hours on the water with this bait yesterday, and I learned a lot about it, and I'm ready to share that with you along with some rigging tips and just some things I think might expedite your trip to success with this bait. There were a few areas I felt like it really shined, and there were a few areas that I might not use this bait in the future, but with that being said, I'm going to share all that with you today, so stay tuned. I'm going to get some B-roll of these molds, we'll get some plastic hot, and let's get into it. So let's get hands-on with these molds. This is gonna be the 4.2 inch tactical shad. As you can tell, we have our back and belly engravings at the top, what it is, the cavity count, and some beautiful machining. Crack this thing open, and we have a bait with a ribbed middle section, a little bit of a smooth nose there, and a split tail with a little bit of a smooth section down here. I could see there being a tail mold for this in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. And this is the 3.2, and it's pretty much the exact same bait, just a little bit smaller, and we gain an extra cavity with it being a little bit smaller, but that is what we have to work with. Now let's get some plastic hot and do some laminates. This is my laminate idea here. Maybe you can kind of get a little bit of an idea what I'm going for. This will be the back color, this will be the belly color. Let's see how it turns out. This is about the best angle I can get you after snapping my tripod in half. But we're gonna see how this goes. I think we can make this work with this little bit of a stand we got. Get this moved around how I want it. This is how it needs to be. Get this to where it makes sense in my brain. Let's do a laminate, shall we? Get these a little closer together and hope that this looks good. We'll see. I think it looks good. It looks good in my brain. We'll put it that way. So I'm gonna do this and do a little injection. I don't think this is big enough to shoot both of these, so I'm just gonna do one at a time and then I'll clean my block out. Good part is, as you do this the first time, your injector's not very hot. Makes it a little easier. Let's do a little demold, shall we? This is the 4.2 inch version here, and I am going to crack it open. Hopefully the bellies will stay in that side, and they did. That works out pretty good there. And then if we flip these over, oh yeah, we should have a white underneath, and that right there is a pretty spicy looking laminate, if I do say so myself. That is pretty cool. I like that. That looks good. That is pretty dang close to the picture I saw and what I was going for, but we'll get some better looks at these here in a minute. Now we'll demold the smaller one. That was the bigger one there, was the 4.2. Now we're gonna demold this one here. Crack this open. Oh, tiny bit of flake bleed over in the belly, but that is gonna look pretty freaking sweet. I like those. I have never thrown a purple white laminate with a FFS minnow kind of like this, and it looks pretty good. I wish it was maybe just a touch more purple, but all the other purples I have bleed. This was the only way I could pull this off without a whole lot of bleed over. Here is a look at these two baits side by side so you can kind of get a feel for the size variance there and what that looks like. And as well, another look at the color just so that you guys can see if it's something that you want to make. A lot of blue showing up in there and laminates pretty nicely with that white. But there is the two baits side by side if you wanted to see what they look like. There is the first color and here is the second color. This is the more of a sight flash version. We have the white back and the silver belly, and they look pretty good. That color also laminated really well together. And this color blends well too, which is kind of nice. But yeah, there it is in both sizes. Here is a final look at them on the tray before we wrap up this part of the video and move on to the fishing thoughts and rigging, but just giving you one last look at them all laid out there together. They look pretty freaking sweet. Let's talk rigging, all things good and bad from what I learned from my experience fishing this. We're gonna start down here with the Ned rig. This is the 3.2 inch tactical shad on the Ned rig. Was able to catch some fish on this. It works great as a Ned rig. When it lands on the bottom, it's got all that movement. It works exceptionally well as a Ned rig. Big fan of this method, and I would recommend the Ned rig. Another option, this one actually surprised me. This is a willow head, so it is like a jig head with a willow blade. And what I learned throwing this bigger tactical shad on it is I could throw it and burn it, and when I would burn it, that bait would almost try to hunt. And you had to go pretty quick with it, but if you could keep it from washing out, from going too fast, you get this cool hunting action, and the fish did like that. So I would recommend throwing it on a setup like this. I was able to catch some fish on this and it did work pretty well. So that is another one that I would recommend. Up next, this is one that I thought was very obvious from the moment that I saw this. This is a Z-Man Evo, and this makes an exceptionally good chatterbait trailer. This is the bigger tactical shad. This is the 4.2. It seems like a 4-inch trailer, 4.25, somewhere in there, is really good for the Z-Man chatterbaits. And this one was exceptionally good. I did get some action footage of this. You can see that tail kicking around, and I will throw it in this video. But this was a great option, and I will be using it for trailers a lot. This is the one I was throwing yesterday. I did catch a fish on this. Would recommend that. This is one with the new sight flash that we made today. This is a jackhammer here, which is probably the best chatterbait on the market right now. But yeah, that is a great option. Would recommend that. Another great option is as a spinnerbait trailer. A lot of guys don't even throw trailers on a spinnerbait. I recommend it. I like throwing a trailer on it as well as a trailer hook. I don't have one on this one, but you'll be surprised with the trailer hook how many fish you'll catch at the very back of that hook. Maybe just kind of nipping at it or nipping at this tail, and you'll catch them on that trailing hook. But yeah, that is another great option. It would be a spinnerbait trailer. You could also use it possibly on a swim jig, but on a spinnerbait, it is going to work great. Another great option. Now here's the drawback to what I thought. This is a ring roller head from Biz Baits. This is a great head. I use it all the time. I throw my freeloaders on it. And I went and fished this bait in all different colors on this head for about 2 hours yesterday, and I could not hardly get the fish to bite the thing. They would rock it up to it real fast, and then they would get right behind it, and then they would be like, nope, not gonna eat that. So I did what I thought I should do, would be to try both sizes, and then I went and put my freeloader on, and I immediately started getting bites. Now, I was throwing the same color as the freeloader that I had, and I just could not figure out what the deal was. So I thought, well, maybe this noise from this ring here was causing problems, but I was throwing the same head and getting bites on the other bait. The only thing I can figure of why they didn't want to hit it is because this tail it just doesn't move quite like the stinger tail on the freeloader, and it looked a little bit stiffer in the water. And that freeloader's tail was really moving around a lot with the way I was twitching it. And I think that was probably some of the issue. I think as the water cools down and when they don't want a bait to move quite as much, I think this is gonna work great for that. I do hope they make a version of this with a stinger tail because I think it will do better in the summer, but obviously your mileage is gonna vary. It depends what lake you're fishing and how the fish are. Where I was fishing at yesterday, the fish are fairly pressured and they're pretty smart. But I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts because I thought this was just going to wreck them on this. And it seems like the pointy tail still seems to work a little bit better, at least where I fish, but it's gonna be completely dependent on how your fish are at your lake. Here is another option. This is the hover rig. This works well. It has that nice spiral glide down as it falls. That is an option that I would also recommend. And here is the smaller version. I showed these in the previous video when I covered the hover rig. If you haven't seen that video and you want to make your own hover rigs, I have that on my channel as well. But yeah, this is another option if you are wanting to do something in the hover rig territory. Here is the 3.2-inch tactical shad rigged on a Ned rig here in the test tank. I felt like the test tank would have been a better way to show you what this bait looks like, but it stands up pretty good. And once you get it seated there, man, that thing is awesome. What a cool looking little bait. Here is some action footage of it on the back of a Z-Man Evo. And it looks pretty good. Definitely gonna be a really nice chatterbait trailer. The jackhammer kicks a little bit more in my opinion, and it's gonna move around probably a little bit more than this, but still, that thing really throws it around. There's one. There we go. First one on the old chatterbait with that tactical shad as a trailer. Little bitty dink, but that is using the bigger tactical shad on the back of that. Hopefully we can find some more of those. There's one. Okay, let's figuring something out now. This is the tactical shad. Let's see. On a willow vibe head. Seemed to be working. Oh, come on. Dadgummit, that was a good one too. There's one. And he made it in the boat. Somehow. Tiny little one. That one. Oh golly, what are those? Oh god, they're sand bats. There's a whole bunch of them. Golly, a whole bunch of them down there. Good Lord, I'm just throwing this on a Ned. And these guys, there's like a school of them. They are wrecking this little Ned. And I'm just throwing the small tactical shad on a Ned head. golly, them are feisty. There is a bunch of them down there. I don't know, there's probably 200 or more down there. There is a bunch of them. And they are just the feistiest little things. Still fun to catch on the old Ned. Old tactical shad putting in some work. Oh, wait, that's a good fish. Oh, there's some drum in there too. Alright, if you guys don't get the full range of species in this video, I don't even know what to tell you. Got a drum. Down in there with the fish. I don't even know. I thought they were all sand bass, but apparently there's some drum in there too. Which makes a lot of sense because I didn't thought they were acting like sand bass. That's pretty crazy. Here is a better look at the net I'm throwing. That is just the 3.2 tactical shad on a weedless net head. And just jigging it in between those schools of fish right there has been pretty fun. Not been bad. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed checking out the tactical shad. It has been an absolute blast to pour. I have had a whole lot of fun and it is a very versatile bait, which is always good. I love a bait that you can use for a whole variety of different things. That way when you buy them, you don't have to commit to doing one particular thing with them. If you want to pick up any of the baits we made in this video, there'll be a link in the description below to my website. You can head on down there and pick yourself up some samples if you want to pick up some of these before you buy your way into the mold system. Totally recommend that. And all that money goes back into the channel so I can keep making these videos for you guys. And if you want to pick up any of these molds, either one of these, the 3.2 or the 4.2, I'll leave a link in the description below to Epic Bait Molds. You can head on down there and pick yourself up some awesome molds. And like and subscribe, it helps the channel out tremendously. And until next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.